And before we start the show, thanks so much for being here. louderwithcrowder.com/mug club is $99 a year, $65 for students, veterans, active military. That's how you support the show. You get access to the entire daily show, the whole Blaze catalog. But I also want to let you know that we are hiring. You can go to louderwithcrowder.com/jobs. We've been doing this golden ticket sweepstakes for a while. We still have some room now for some editors and some people assisting with booking, guests, and some technical work here at the office. So maybe that's you. Probably not, but it could be. louderwithcrowder.com/jobs. Thank you. This is us giving back, but not to a very small percentage. Louder with Crowder Studios, protected exclusively by Walther and Hopper. Yes, that's called the orb at Spencer's. It has a little electricity line that you save up $40 to get,
Love
and then you
those.
realize all it does is go bzzz.
But it's so cool.
You're like, it looks slightly like the cover of Weird Science.
Wonderful.
4 months allowance well spent. Before we get to Gavin McInnes on the show today, we are going to be talking about the 5 top times that social justice warriors have cannibalized their own in light of SNL recently.
Fun.
A couple of questions. What do you think of leftists who still insist that cancel culture doesn't exist, that it's not a thing?
Right.
How far do you think they'll have to go before they acknowledge it? Secondly, why have none of you fat-shamed me? This is important. I've had an
love it.
injury.
I mean,
and
really?
yes, I need to lose 15 pounds. And I got, seriously, I want you to fat shame me to motivate me. I got on the scale and I was
Fatty.
going, whoa, I'm getting really big, buddy. Why didn't anyone tell me?
Oh. We insult you in other ways.
Wait, can we give a reward to like the best fat
Ooh,
shaming?
that'd be good.
Yes, we can give an award to the best fat shaming.
Yes.
I need to lose
excellent.
precisely 13 pounds. Half Asian lawyer Bill
13.
Richmond is with me today. And third,
Hello,
how are you?
friends.
Quarter Black Garrett is here.
what I do?
G. Morgan Jr., what's the wine of the day? Not Gerald B.
The one of the day is Realm Fidelio.
What does that even mean?
Realm, I don't know, but it was in a movie.
I
If you can
prefer
name that movie.
Realm
I
Castro.
shouldn't know it, but I
All right, we have Gavin McInnes on the show.
Yeah.
Big favorite
yeah.
people like that.
Exciting.
And we're going to be
good
talking about a
stuff.
whole lot of stuff. All right, kicking us off, Hannah Gatsby. Remember her? She won a Creative Arts Emmy for Outstanding Writing in a Variety or Comedy Special for Nanette. And she wrote this, in accepting the award, she's New Zealand. In accepting the award, oh no, that's not her. That's never mind. I'm reading a different quote. She just said, if you found strength in Nanette, know that our stories matter, our humanity matters. Okay, whatever you say, mister. Nanette is important. Nanette actually beat out a crowded field of nominees this year for Outstanding Writing in a Comedy Special, including HBO's Chernobyl, Peter Jackson's They Will Not Grow Old, and that grainy black and white Holocaust footage you were forced to watch your sophomore year. So
Lord.
it did face some stout competition.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
a tough crowd.
Deprecation is self-humiliation. Yes.
It was something, just not comedy.
This is another thing that's happening. The pornography website Bang Bros. That's a website is bidding $10 million
Seriously,
for the
Bros?
naming rights in arena in Miami. The company said that it wishes to call the venue the Bang Bros Center. Bang Bros. Yeah, coincidentally, also the name of Ilhan Omar's new autobiography. So she is.
Wow.
Look, it was a publicity stunt and it was cheap.
Immigration fraud? What? No. Apparently,
That's not a
my Ilhan
caricature.
Omar is
Yeah,
Andy
that's for
Kaufman.
real.
No. She's locked up. No. Speaking of creepy things that are off-putting, Joe Biden had another moment of
It's not Halloween yet.
being Joe Biden.
$8,000 tax credit for everybody who has child care costs. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce.
What I love is he stuttered there.
He did.
720 million, and you think, oh, he's going to correct himself.
No.
Instead, he just doubles down. He bites down on that mouth guard and swings for the fences.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, when people talk about like Donald Trump said Dayton instead of Toledo, you could throw a baseball from Toledo and hit Dayton. Joe Biden makes up stories that never happened in places that don't even exist with people he's never met.
Corn pop, man.
Yeah, the problem, in case you
my
haven't
gosh.
noticed, 720 million jobs. There are only 327 million people in the United States.
Well,
And
aim for the fence.
of course, listen, this isn't the first time that Joe Biden has. What? Stop. Stop. Come on, Joe.
Joe.
Every
Sorry
freaking
about that.
time. Get
Again.
away. Well, and it actually gets worse, Stephen. There's only 165 million women in
Right.
the United States. So he's like, way.
No. But there is actually 720 million women in the Western Hemisphere over the age of 12, which is his demographic. So
If you
he
include
just-
Z's.
Yeah,
You have to
if
include Z's.
include the
That's true.
Z's.
That's a very-
Then you've gotten
include
to a
them.
number that's clearly on his mind.
Because if you don't include
Lord.
the Z's, you'll have a rounding error of 0.025. Speaking of things
good
that
to know.
don't matter, Andrew Yang is obviously a 2020 candidate. He's under
Sort of.
fire right now from Vox for using Asian stereotypes. They claim he reinforced toxic tropes. An actual quote, Yang's comments about Asians being doctors and liking math has some voters concerned they reinforce long-standing racist stereotypes.
Long-standing truth.
Many of obviously a lot of people refer to the content.
Yeah.
It's overblown,
Yeah,
with
of course.
his most vocal critics saying that he actually has a history of this, Yang, even pointing pointing to his most recent campaign slogan of "Me Chinese, me no dumb," which seems,
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
It's pandering a little bit.
he's steering
there.
right into it.
Well, look, if you're trying to be a racist jerk, calling people smart is not the best way to do it.
Well, you have to deal with
that's
this
not
all the
offensive
time.
at all,
Lloyd,
right?
he was-
Frequently, people are just always looking to me for all the answers. And
They assume you know things you don't.
does it ever offend you when people assume that you're good at math?
no. I mean, no, I don't know math, but yes.
It's just an inconvenience.
No. It's not even inconvenient. It's actually funny, right? Because there is like, if when I look at what the joke is, it's someone who's making a joke that's saying, common ground, we have this joke and the joke exists, and they're not saying it as a joke at me or about me specifically as an individual. It would be a stretch for me to have taken that personally and be offended instead of just laughing along with it.
You
Right.
dove into that one.
Well.
That's deep.
Thank you, Bill. Proving that Charlie can take a joke.
See, that's innocent enough.
By the way, that's important. We're going to be talking about the SNL thing. You know, he used the word is a word. And I want to be really clear. That's the word he used because when you read the articles, they say he used the C word. That's not the C word that we're thinking.
That's not at
Right.
all the C word.
Obviously, it's not good to call someone. You shouldn't do it. Like I would never
Right,
walk up
yeah.
to it
No,
and just say
no.
it to you.
I mean, of course not.
It'd
I
be
wouldn't
much
really-
worse if you were going to call them Chank. I mean,
I know, yeah.
I mean, that's a true
Look,
insult.
that's
That's
a
an
bridge too
insult.
far, Bill.
I know.
Calm
I
down.
just think it's important for people to note words. Now we've given them so much power. You read these articles, C word. I'm like, no, that's not. It's a different word. Okay, switching to international news. Actually, priests air bombed a Russian. Oh, that was my other question of the day. That was my other question. Andrew Yang was supposed to be on this show. Said he would be. And now, Andrew Yang, you are still invited.
Oh.
After that sequence
But only if you can do this math
of
problem.
material.
Come on, cousin Yang.
And
We're
if you would like to
welcome.
see Andrew Yang on this show, let him know. Let
Yes.
us know. We would love to host. And we would let me know which Democratic
Yes.
candidate you would like to see most in the show. We have open invitations to all of them. I wouldn't hold my breath. Switching to international news, Russian priests they air bombed with holy water this area to.
Right.
You know what? Here's a clip of what they were doing. So to clarify the context, clergymen they poured out
That's really it, yeah.
70 liters worth
Not a lot.
of holy water to promote sobriety in Russia. And it doesn't really sound
Good
like a
idea.
lot until you see the aftermath of the incident.
Maybe. Yeah.
Poor kid.
That's a tough one right there, yeah.
But at least he received final absolution.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's important.
That being said, there are worse things that can happen when religious fanatics get their hands on a plane.
Yeah.
Does anyone remember 9/11? Did you remember 9/11?
That was
no,
recent.
horrible
Yeah,
tragedy.
no, definitely understand that.
You know what's missing there is that they actually celebrated getting rid of the 7 liters of water by drinking vodka. On
Yeah.
the plane.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly right. And look, I think it's going to take a little bit more than this. 75 people died in Russia from drinking cologne because they thought it had drinkable alcohol in it. Something more than sprinkling water is needed.
That's true.
That's absolutely true.
I think that's fake news.
It's in the same article.
I think you're confusing.
Does nobody
cologne
read to the
and-
last sentence?
You're confusing cologne and eau de
a no.
toilette.
TLDR.
And it was not Russian people. It was Caucasian Avarchkas. Most dangerous dog in the world. Also in international news,
Who have
Google
access to cologne.
Caucasian Avarchka, and you will understand what I'm talking. It's terrifying. The Canadian Cancer Society, they're using a transgender
can't
woman on their cervical cancer page. People have not been happy about it. An actual quote is, if you had vaginoplasty, there's a very small risk that you can develop cancer in the tissues of your neo-vagina or neo-cervix. I don't necessarily know what that means. Apparently the vagina goes...
Bullet time.
It is the one.
This isn't the first controversy of its kind, though. We've covered these, especially with the Woman of the Year cover with Caitlyn
Yeah.
Jenner. Playboy got into some hot water for their transgender pictorials. And, of course, the outrage over the most recent cover of Yeast Infection Monthly, which seems as though,
That's Gerald C. word. Gerald C. word.
You couldn't see what
Little inside
what I was-
baseball
it was-
there.
Gerald was doing this. He's like, wrap it up, wrap it up.
No. That's not what I
right.
was saying. It was something else. It's like, you stole my Neo joke.
Oh,
you
I
stole it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
See how it
apologize.
feels.
Yeah, well,
No, I do
not
see
really.
how it
You
feels
don't.
now.
You don't make a living off this.
No, that's true.
If I drank that bottle down, maybe I know how you feel.
There you
Hey,
go.
It's time actually
I
for
already
this
drank it.
week's Eye on India. Now that may not make sense. Why is it pink eye in India? Let me tie this together for you real quick.
You'll get it in a second.
This week, India held its first ever national farting contest. This
Only
comes
the
from
first?
Vice.
I'm sorry, this sounds fun.
Vice, thank you for doing the Lord's work.
Yes.
I'm surprised it's the first.
Great reporting.
$400 million by Disney well spent.
Yes.
There's a quote from, I guess, the person putting on the farting contest. To normalize the natural body process, prizes are being given to those whose farts are the loudest, longest, and most musical. Most musical,
Yeah,
which this may sound weird to us. You can chalk it up to cultural differences. The idea that a fart could be musical, but when you actually see the winner of the contest, it's pretty impressive.
Oh.
A prize well earned.
Wow, Chef Boyardee amazing farts.
Look, if I had gas, I would put a competition on like this too. I'd be like, honey, it naturalizes the body in
The
this
entire
prizes.
country
I'm a
has
sportsman.
gas. Have you seen their tap water lab results?
Oh my gosh.
I guess that's, I don't
a
think we have
difficult
any
deal.
more. That's been this week's Eye on India. Here's a story that
terrible.
could have worldwide implications. Saudi Arabia, obviously, you know about this, presented evidence that Iran was behind the oil attacks. The Defense Ministry, this comes from the BBC, has shown off what it says is the wreckage of drones and cruise missiles.
Stephen, is that a new watch?
Oh yeah, it's I think it's was it called Audemars Piguet. It was a gift from a sponsor, Mohammed bin Salman, but I'm not really a watch guy. So.
Oh, can I have it?
Yeah, you want it?
Yeah, sweet, awesome.
Oh man,
thank
I
you.
should have.
Appreciate
It is durable. I think it's proved up to 100 meters. Finally,
nice.
women are flocking to plastic surgeons right now to fix resting bitch face. It's an actual thing from the New York Post. According to one plastic surgeon, it's a common request. They may not always use the words, but if I mention RBF, they say exactly.
Oh my gosh.
The surgeon has, of course, been called an artist with the human face his canvas, and he's most celebrated for his RBF work on RBG, AOC, the notorious BIG, and medical anomaly, the RBF elephant woman. So, that seems...
That's terrible.
yeah.
My gosh. This
a quick turnaround.
Like, reading this story is like, it's hilarious because smiling is that difficult that you would have surgery to not be a bitch. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's
It
like,
only changes you on the outside.
It
not
only
on
no,
the
changes
listen.
inside.
What I'm saying is like,
Inside.
hold on. I'm sorry. I wouldn't say that. You're such a bitch that you can't smile to not look like a bitch when you know you
Yeah.
look like a bitch. Sorry.
It's resting. It's when you're walking
I'm-
around.
It just
It's
it's
like-
frustrating.
No, I agree with you. It's the bitch lap band.
Exactly.
Hey, I like resting
Sorry,
face.
sorry.
It's
I know
hilarious.
Can I get my
swore a few
stapled?
times
There's no beautiful face without the RBF, right? There's no sweet without the
geez.
sour.
Yeah,
you know?
the yin and the yang.
Yes, there really is.
No.
We don't need it.
By the way, what's the square root of 492?
Yeah, 79,000 million.
Shoot.
He's definitely
I
not
should have
Asian.
known better
Not
than to try and
Asian.
stump
I
you.
told
half
you
Asian
I'm
lawyer
not
Polish.
a math railroads or nails Asian.
All right, so listen, I have to take a quick. I have to go back in the court after this. A quick kind of detour here. There was supposed to be a sketch today that involved a clown in the office, and I think you have this as B-roll up here.
Yeah.
You can just show it. Yeah, this was a clown in the office that we shot, where the clown got stabbed, hit with a bottle.
Oh.
Took us a long time to tape this, but we had costume, we had makeup, we had the sketch. Nothing that we wrote or created could possibly be funnier. So we axed it and we replaced it with this security camera footage from the office at 10 p.m. last night. Let's watch. This is Brendan, our brilliant editor. He comes in at 10 at night. He's rehearsing backup vocals for the Nirvana song. I swear, I check in. I go,
What
what's
is he-
happening?
What is he doing here?
Oh my God.
And I'm tilting.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
tilting. The security camera's looking for him like in the scaffolding. He never showed back up.
He just lives in the rafters
Brendan
now.
comes in.
He's like Quasimodo.
And he climbs up like a
Hangs
Malaysian coconut tree climber, and he was gone.
Just a poof. A hole in the roof.
I want him. So I asked him if he could come in here. Brendan, let's bring in even Brendan here, a brilliant editor, wonderful guy. Brendan, come on in. Okay, can you tell me for a second what were you doing? You climbed up, and then you were gone.
Well, put a Brian Stelter head on the ceiling.
What? Did we? That's right. We got. Do you have footage of it? Is this what? Is this we found it? Yeah. Look how high. What is that? Is that 40 feet up?
I don't know. I don't want to overestimate, but
It's got to be like 20 at least.
I'll go with 40. That makes me sound pretty cool.
Here's my question. Did you come in with the express purpose of doing that? Like, did you say I'm going to go in and work on my vocals, or did you say I'm going to go in and climb a pole?
It was just kind of spur of the moment.
He was inspired.
I need a reason to do it.
Which, by the way, is incredibly impressive, but wildly dangerous. You're aware of
Yes.
this, right?
The Lord spoke to him.
There's no grip on that pole, if you haven't seen it. So actually,
it's meant.
before we go, Brendan, I'm going to need you to sign this. It's just
Yeah,
the liability waiver.
Got to be a waiver for him. Yeah. There goes your insurance. By
Yeah,
the way.
there's just extra.
Yeah, just sign right there. That's fine.
You're
Yeah,
screwed.
just
yeah.
sign. Don't read it. Don't read the fine
Anyway.
print.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You think we're joking, but Bill actually drafted this up. If you fall,
He did, yeah.
If you fall putting a Brian Stelter
You know, if you could
head
make
40
that-
feet up,
Yeah.
you have to cover your own insurance.
all
yeah,
you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brendan. We
Yes.
appreciate
Yeah.
it. Good. Good stuff. By the way, the vocals weren't bad. They were good.
Yeah,
they were good.
excellent.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
With heart.
for screaming.
When I asked him if we could have him on air, he was more concerned about the vocals. He's like,
Oh man.
He's still working
I
on
felt
it.
like I was pitchy.
There's a surgeon for that.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And then,
Feel
I
like
should
you're
tell you,
pitchy?
2 hours later, because I was trying to find him, the mic made a beep accidentally because I was trying to look and went beep,
Yeah.
and he stops and goes, John? Very specific.
Are you watching again?
He has crazy farmer strength. He's from Wisconsin. Like, that is
See those
not
long
easy
arms?
to do. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Easy.
Amazing.
All right. By the way, last week's
lemur.
trivia contest, before we move on to the meat segment, last week's trivia contest winner is Metal Gunner at Metal Gunner 2, who correctly answered that Bernie Sanders thought breadlines were a good thing.
It's a good thing.
All right.
a good thing.
So let's move on to this segment here. The top 5 examples of SJWs, or let's just call them leftists now, because I think
Yeah, it's good
SJW is a flagged word on YouTube.
NPC.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, if you put SJW on YouTube, you're immediately demonetized.
Yeah.
So let's use this as a jumping off point. SNL, they dropped a new cast member, Shane Gillis, right? If you haven't followed this, we'll talk about it with Gavin next. This was following some social media outrage based on some jokes. They said he wouldn't be joining the cast.
Jokes.
And his comments were, quote, offensive, hurtful, unacceptable to the Asian community, proving once again that Charlie can't take a joke. Bill can.
No. You actually know that no Asians were offended by the jokes, right? It was just
Really?
white people
Yeah.
wearing
On behalf.
hemp hats on behalf
Yeah.
of
Yes.
Asians, because all the Asians were laughing.
Right. Yeah.
They're the white
Except
knights.
it was a guy from Vox or Vice or whoever it was who does the spoken bird poetry. But you know, it's good to know that SNL. That's not a joke. Spoken bird poetry. Good thing to know though that SNL draws the line at Asian jokes.
Joining us now are 3 peasant laborers from the factory in China where these iPhones were manufactured.
Oh, you upset with bug? Too many bug in phone. I sleep in communal bunk bed with 100 stranger. Lice are
Okay, so it's just
best
one
bug I get.
racist Asian
Horrible.
stereotetype.
Within 9 to 6
Oh, there's 2
hours.
of them.
That's tough, you know.
It's not even
One
good. It's
time, she
rice,
was in line
not
21
lice.
days for baby formula.
Formula.
Food to feed baby. You know that?
So very similar. Yeah.
By the way, I actually thought the sketch was funny. I thought the sketch was funny.
Yeah.
That's
You did?
2014. Just so you know. It's not like we have to dig back
long
through
ago.
and go back to
Right.
Rob Schneider or have to go back to Breakfast at Tiffany's. That's 2014.
Sorry, it was the 70s.
That's basically the last cast member who was replaced by the other black female cast member who was replaced by the other black female cast member. Just a never
woman of color.
I think we do need to make sure to appropriately punish all of the audience members who laughed
Yes.
at that joke in
I thought-
2014.
He said it was
I thought
funny.
it was a funny sketch. Okay, by
I
the way,
did
for
not.
those who missed it, here's the controversial clip from the person they asked in question so you can see it.
Damn, Chinatown's fucking nuts.
It's crazy, dude.
It is full fucking China, dude. It's
Yeah.
fucking Chinese down there.
I wonder how that started. They just built one fucked up looking building, and people were like, "All right, no one said anything.
Let
Let's."
the fucking chicks live there, huh?
That's about it.
That's a bit difficult.
It's not a big deal.
Wow.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's funny, but
No, it's not, but
Still,
that
it's
wasn't
not
necessarily the
something
joke.
to
They were
hang
doing
a
a
guy
whole
over,
bit.
you know?
But here's this isn't an isolated incident. The mob is going to come after comics, celebrities, politicians, regardless of how woke they are. And that's why I want to cycle through 5 examples of the most woke people we can think of, leftist folks, who
Yes.
then had the crocodiles turn on them. So example number 5, Sarah Silverman. This is important. After Kevin Hart, remember, he was fired from the Oscars for his homophobic tweets that they dug through.
Right.
She didn't come to his defense.
Not at all.
Instead, she said that she was done making gay jokes, and she likened the use of the word gay to racism.
I'm done with that. I think I can find other ways to be funny.
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I used to say gay all the time.
That's yet to be proven.
So gay. 'Cause we're from Boston.
More like find a
You know,
way.
that's what you say in Boston. I have gay friends. I just say gay. And then I heard myself and I realized I was like the guy who said, "What? I say colored. I have colored friends."
Isn't it always great that this revelation comes after they've made their tens of millions of dollars?
Right, exactly.
It's
Well, let me
convenient.
retire here to
Right.
my Beverly Hills mansion and think about what I've done during a 97-hour spa
I can find
treatment.
other ways. now.
Everything was a shock comic joke
Right.
until she did Wreck-It Ralph, and I was like, now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I
I had
understand.
an awakening.
As she paints her
I've
nails
awakened.
gold.
Now
And
that I sleep on a bed of $1 million bills.
But it's crazy to me that any comedians are doing this at all.
Yeah.
Of course, they should be, whether they agree with it or not, they should be championing free speech. That's what's so concerning to me. This is a shock comic who climbed the ladder and then pulled it up.
Yep.
And is now
Yeah.
pelting other comedians with paintballs. I guess I don't know what she would use. She was not going to have a gun.
No, that's definitely
No,
not going to
not a
happen.
gun.
It's a Nerf gun.
And so what happened? She found herself being canceled for doing a skit in blackface. Here's her talking about it.
I recently was gonna do a movie, 2 days on a movie, a sweet part in a cool little movie, and then at 11 p.m. the night before, they fired me because they saw a picture of me in blackface from that episode. Listen, I'm
Surprise,
not that
RBF.
person anymore, but I was doing it. You know, I didn't go to a f***ing Halloween party in the 80s in blackface. I was doing an episode about race. You know, now I understand it's never okay and blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah. By the way, we are going to get to our number one spot is the most woke person you can think of who did go in blackface, not once, but twice.
Right.
Prolific.
And sang the Banana Song.
Well, and here's the thing: she accidentally stumbled upon truth in the earlier part of that interview, where she said her response to the question about it was, "Comedians don't like to be told what to do." But then
Right.
she's like, "I can't say
And
that."
by the way, I want to be really clear. I don't think she should have been canceled or punished at all.
not
The
at all.
blackface sketch was about a girl who was tone deaf doing blackface to impress black people. I thought it was a
Right.
funny sketch.
Right.
I think Sarah Silverman can be very funny at times, and I am not advocating for her to be canceled at all.
No.
I am pointing out the standard by which they want to be judged.
Yeah.
I think conservatives need to be really careful about this. We shouldn't be advocating that anyone else get canceled.
No.
We should be pointing out their standards, but then we should be defending them and championing their right to do these things, to say these things, and not be canceled. And I'm not just talking about First Amendment. You know, we talk about this all the time.
Right.
First Amendment obviously is government, no
Right,
government
yeah.
infringement. But we are talking about a culture right now of
Yeah.
bullying people into
Yeah.
silence.
Cancel.
And that
Oh,
is
yeah.
just as important. Okay, example number 4. This might surprise you. Lena Dunham. You know, I've talked about it. Her dad draws anger of vaginas. She's the creator. HBO, the woke series Girls, right? And also
bad.
noted survivor of condoms and potted plants. She's effectively the SJW
So brave.
feminist archetype, right? She
Yeah.
won awards for support of the LGBTQ community. She campaigned for Obama and Clinton. She pledged to move to Canada if Trump won.
If only.
Spoiler alert, she didn't. And she
too bad.
particularly made a big deal out of activism to fight sexual assault. She talked about being raped by a guy named Barry, the resident Republican at her college. And then she did this whole PSA, I think. Do we have a clip?
Yeah.
PSA about sexual assault.
Yeah.
And 1 in 4 girls will be sexually abused before the age of 18.
This isn't a secret.
But not the one on the far
Reality.
So why is our default reaction as a society to disbelief or to silence?
Or to shame.
By the way, it's important to note, remember they did the 1 in 5 women are raped.
Right.
And they said 1 in 4 women are raped. And they said, well, 1 in 4 women are sexually assaulted. It's not true.
No.
It's not a true number.
Totally debunked.
If you look at the Bureau of Justice, if you look at the FBI statistics, it's just not factually accurate.
It is a number, though.
And by the way, her
Doesn't
rape
hold
story was a
water.
hoax. And the editors of her memoir actually had to change the book after threats of legal action.
Yes.
So there's the argument in the court of public opinion, and then there's, all right, we have to pull it when it gets legal.
Right. It's just we're going to go ahead and just yank it. No problem. Let's. If this is the tool that we're using, canceling, then we wonder when you let the tiger loose comes back and bite you.
Tiger, another reference.
Dang
See?
it.
Yeah.
Charlie
I'm seeing him more
knows how to
clearly.
get in. He
Exactly.
sticks in, he shucks
No.
and
Gets it
jives.
in there.
It's like a shuck and jiving dragon.
No, this is not oysters, bro. It's like dodging a wrench.
Jeez.
The whole talking
you
about
derailed.
Brendan got us off. It's
It
just
did,
one of
yes.
the funniest things I've ever seen. By the way, in that same book, vivid descriptions of sexually abusing her little sister.
Yeah.
Okay, including spreading
Horrible.
her. If you have kids, leave the room. Spreading her sister's vagina open when she was 11, or her sister was 11 and she was
Yeah.
17. Bribing her with candy to kiss her on the lips, masturbating in bed next to her. This is Lena Dunham's own words. She wrote, anything a sexual predator might do to woo a small suburban girl, I was trying. So I guess in this, it's not so much cancel culture as it is sick, twisted, handsy older sister
yeah.
culture. But that's not even what bothered the woke cancelists. I guess that's what we'll call them now.
Yeah, that's a good word.
It was the hypocrisy that she had in the Me Too movement. I think you had a point here, no?
No. I mean, that's not the kind of beautiful and brave thing that we're looking for, right? So the joke that we make about it, obviously some people they have to fight through a lot of different tragedies in their life or whatever that they're feeling. That's not it. Assaulting your sister, she can't be put
her
in that
response
camp
was like, well,
at
we
all.
all do stuff.
No,
to our siblings.
No. So the argument was that she was 7 years old when she started. Her sister was 1.
Anyone
but
here?
you did it when she was 11.
Sexually molest your little sibling?
No.
Yeah, I hit my brother with a shovel, but I never.
You never raped him.
Never raped him.
Never raped him.
No.
No.
I once also hit Audio Wade with a shovel. So.
I think we all have, actually.
So
surprised he's
part in
still here.
everybody's
But
life.
this just shows you what the priorities are. The cancel movement, they didn't care about that. They cared about her hypocrisy on the Me Too movement, right? So this producer of the show Girls was accused of raping a 17-year-old girl. And then Lena Dunham responded without any evidence that the girl was lying. This is her statement. While our first instinct is to listen to every woman's story, because you demanded that they do, our insider knowledge of Murray's situation makes us confident that sadly this accusation is one of the 3% of assault cases that are misreported every year. First off, it's not only 3% that are misreported or false rape allegations, and you didn't run an investigation. They're bitching about the Kavanaugh investigation, which was as thorough as you could possibly make it because someone sent something to the FBI at some point that wasn't corroborated, and she's going, even though this guy was accused of rape, we don't think he did. Really, why not?
Yeah.
He said no?
It's not misreporting, it's lying!
So we know that she went from believe all women to now this guy's making it up without even looking at any evidence. And by the way, this is what finally led to the social justice warriors calling for Dunham's cancellation. It's hard not to be happy about this example. I'm generally against cancel culture, but I'm also against raping sisters.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, she actually got pissed off that people thought she was a sexual predator when she described herself as a sexual predator.
Right.
And it's like Jerry Sandusky saying, yeah, I know I had sex with that kid in the shower and you guys saw me, but that doesn't make me a bad guy. I'm not a pedophile.
It's almost like a Twitter personality from a certain 3-lettered network calling himself things on his Twitter handle and then complaining about someone else using those same words.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't catch what you were doing.
I wasn't picking it up.
I swear to you, I started with Don Lemon? Because you said 3-letter network, so right away I went to CNN.
No. You cycled through my
Don Lemon? Chris Cuomo? Stelter?
Wait, you're saying they're all
Soledad O'Brien?
They're all hypocrites? Crazy.
I'm just going to cycle through the list of people who want to hurt me.
It's a long one.
Number 3, Chris Evans. Chris Evans is about as woke as you can get for a white guy. He's called Donald Trump a racist. Yeah. He's been headlining LGBTQ IAIP events to pushing abortion without any restrictions whatsoever. Which, by the way, should be completely out of line, considering the penis. I thought it was no uterus, no opinion.
Oh,
we support
I thought
abortion.
that was the logic.
Bring your cock right in, sir. It's okay, we'll hit the censor button. So him and his co-star, Jeremy Renner, they made the mistake of calling Black Widow, referring to Black Widow, a fictional character, mind you, as a slut.
She's with Bruce. What do you guys make of that?
She's a slut.
I was going to say something along that line.
Oh my God.
Trick, man.
Which, by the way, that's actually kind of funny.
It is funny.
It's funny.
I like Jeremy Renner.
They're talking about a cartoon character.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about
Named
before,
Black Widow, by the
laughing
way.
is an involuntary action.
Yeah.
He thought that was funny.
Genuinely.
So when it's not this, when we talk about gender is societally conditioned, no. Telling someone that they shouldn't find something that's taboo or offensive funny, that's your attempt at social engineering.
Right,
He laughed. That's a guttural response. That is, this is funny. And you want to tell him that his emotive reaction is wrong. And of course, he apologized. Evan's apology was, we answered in a very juvenile, offensive way that rightfully angered some fans. I regret it, and I sincerely apologize. I'm sorry that this tasteless joke about a fictional character offended anyone. Thank you, Chris
I
Evans.
think he threw a little dig in there. This joke about an offensive character. I'm like, seriously, you just should have said these people were stupid. Bill, like if you were advising one of these people today, would you tell them to apologize like that for something that is absolutely so non-offensive to anybody?
I mean, it's not really.
I would double down.
Issue. It's not really a legal issue. It's a question of where you're going to draw the line.
No, it's
right?
it's PR.
And you know the funny part is, I like what you're pointing there is that if you read it and you emphasize the words of him reading it aloud, it'd be like, if everyone's offended at this comment about a fictional character, then I apologize for your offendedness.
I apologize that you're that dumb. I'm waiting for somebody to stand up to it when it's really
very
not
similar to the fictional
offensive.
character involved with Lena Dunham's rape. Example number 2, Aziz Ansari. So he should be an expert, by the way, in navigating the whole woke male-female relations.
Yeah,
he was the little brown feminist that could.
You're a feminist if you go to a Jay-Z and Beyonce concert and you're not like, I feel like Beyonce should get 23% less money than Jay-Z. Also, I don't
Wrong.
think Beyonce should have the right to vote.
Wrong.
I don't know anyone who says that.
Nobody.
I know gay guys who use the term queen bee. And then I knew a guy, I only found that out, I found out that, you know how I found out the term queen bee was a thing? Because I heard a bunch of gay guys say queen bee. And then I heard a guy who claimed he was straight say queen bee. And I said, no, now I know. It turns out he was gay.
Well, yeah, there you
Your
go.
gaydar was
Yeah,
on.
I don't have any other proof other than he said queen bee, but I'd bet my life.
That's good enough.
take a look,
Yeah, that's good enough.
He also wrote, by the way, Aziz Ansari, he wrote this sort of postmodern book on romantic relationships, right? And what did he do? They come for him too. He committed the unforgivable crime of going on a date with a girl that didn't go so well. So for those of you who are confused, bad date is now a synonym for sexual misconduct. Apparently. Keep in mind, we're not advocating for casual sex here or promiscuity. We're the conservatives who are mocked for advocating abstinence until marriage. But ladies, let me just say this, okay? If you're going to a guy's apartment, okay, and you strip down to nothing and you start engaging in sex, I don't want to say that you're asking for it, but that's only because you're already doing it.
Yeah.
You asked for it, you
act.
got it, you were doing it, and then you didn't want it. Like Chance in Homeward Bound with the Porcupine. I don't want it! I don't want it! But you're already having sex.
But the it. What is the it? That's the point.
As a
right?
guy, what do you do now? I mean, like, seriously, as a guy, again, we would advise you, the best advice got even better now, abstinence until you're married, that's better advice. But what do you do as a guy now? A woman gets naked and starts doing things to you. Well, I'm sorry,
Lena
what
Dunham,
do you do?
They had sex. And
Right.
then she
Well,
later
yeah,
said that it was
She later
real.
said it was rape because when she woke, she talked about
felt
Lena
bad
Dunham.
when she woke up.
She talked about
took it back.
alcohol and muscle
Yeah.
relaxers.
Right.
She peed in the parking lot that night.
I got
And then she
blitzed.
talked about going back, having sex with him, but waking up the next day and noticing a condom was in a potted plant. So she said, it's clear to me that I asked him to wear the condom and he took it off mid-set. First off, you don't know when the condom came off.
Yeah.
You also don't know if you asked him to wear the condom. You were both completely inebriated. Now, does that mean that he didn't harass you? No, it does. But you also have to allow for the possibility that you made bad decisions. It's not the same as aggravated rape.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think that guys who specifically target women who are drunk, especially if they're sober, are germs. You should stay away from them. But it was not that kind of a scenario. I want to be really clear here, too. I don't think that Aziz Ansari should be canceled. I'm not advocating that for any of these people. But they will come free. Okay, example number 1. This one is just too good.
I love this one.
Oh,
yes.
So,
one of my favorite people.
The darling of the left. Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. Remember, this is the guy who broke down in tears apologizing to the Two-Spirit community.
Community.
I didn't know it was I thought it was a Halloween store.
Yeah. I didn't know it was a thing.
April Fools in October.
Two-Spirit. So everyone does have skeletons in their closet, even the guy who apologizes to the Two-Spirit community. But yesterday, Time Magazine, or earlier this week, they dropped the funniest story of all time. With a picture of him attending a party in brown
That's
face.
Justin Trudeau.
That's Justin
No way. That is awesome.
I mean, that is it's technically brown face.
Yes.
But that's black face.
But he's dressed
Let's
in
be honest.
all white. It's hilarious.
That's a tube
I love
of
it.
kiwi shoe polish. We all know exactly
Brilliant
what is
contrast.
happening.
That was
Oh my
excellent. It was
gosh.
a mocha, I
Lots
think,
of
was the
contrast.
actual color.
Was that the color?
Yeah,
Yeah.
mocha.
Well, that's also something, by the
Spicy
way,
mocha.
we talk about black. Indians, especially South Indians, can be far darker than black people. So it's not an accurate descriptor.
It's true.
I just want to be
It's
clear
true.
about
It's
that.
racist,
Keep in mind, this is important. I'm not advocating. I don't think he should lose his re-election. But
No.
Megyn Kelly
Not for that.
Based
was
on this.
fired, canceled, for merely suggesting that someone doing blackface back in the day might not have been inherently racist. So I want to
Right.
contrast the comments that got Megyn Kelly canceled. Let's juxtapose that with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's apology. Here you go.
Truly, you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface on Halloween, or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween.
No, you don't. Whiteface is fine.
Back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as like a character.
I didn't think was racist at the time, but now I recognize it was something racist to do, and I am deeply sorry.
Was that the only time in your life you've ever done something like that?
When I was in high school, I dressed up at a talent show and sang Dale.
Wait.
Dale.
Wait, there's more?
Wow.
Looks like the Mars Volta.
Get a fro on.
The man, he didn't just dabble in blackface. He was positively a blackface connoisseur.
Come, Mr.
Swag.
Tellyman.
No!
Oh my God.
No!
I love how he didn't no one knew about this, and then it didn't happen, and he didn't remember and didn't bother to tell anyone about it.
Right.
Yeah. And then it happens, and he's like, "But actually, there's 2 of them."
Just so happens.
You can also see on his face when this story broke, and they're asking those questions. Like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know that it was racist back then, but now I understand." And he's sitting there, he thinks it's over, and then someone says, "Yes, excuse me, is this the only time?" And you can see in his head, he's going. I've got an answer for this.
Excessive.
I was hoping Deo would never come back up, but it did.
I sang the banana song in blackface, dressed as part of the Jackson 5, and it wasn't even Michael or Tito.
Oh my gosh! Look, it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I am like you, like Lena Dunham on this list, and him. Like I'm kind of like, good. I'm glad something like that happened, but it's like they can't control their own creation, and I don't want it to happen to anybody. It tears me apart because I'm like, you deserve it.
Not like this. You don't want them to go out.
I
like
agree.
No. I want them taken out, but not
I
like
know.
this.
I know.
Not like this.
I like.
It's like fighters who say, "I want the best version of whoever's coming in. I want the best Muhammad Ali who's ever come in. That way, there can be no doubt. I want to beat these people on policy and ideas, and it is fun.
Still,
It's fun. It's funny.
It's definitely
funny. The hypocrisy is funny. But I gotta say, like, the point has got to be that the whole point of this is that the ridiculousness of the quote unquote punishment. Right?
Yeah,
Cancel culture is a way to punish. They've let the tiger loose. It comes back and bite them because they didn't really think of what the consequences were.
Yeah.
What's the consequence of limiting free speech to only speech that some particular group happens to be in power approves at that moment? Right?
Who says that? We say that all the time. We say, "Hey,
this is what
these will be turned back on you," and they're like, "Whatever, we're going to do it anyway."
It's never going to happen.
And then it comes back, and they get
This is what
canceled.
the left does with every single thing. We've talked about this before, and it's that we are trying to warn you.
Yeah.
This will only hurt you and us.
We do have to get going here and have Gavin McInnes on. We'll talk a little bit more about SNL. I think this is important to note. A lot of people say, "Well, you know what? I'm not Alex Jones," right? That was when when they canceled Alex Jones. And this is one thing I just realized: we're kind of the only program to have endured an all-out assault to be deplatformed.
That's true. Because you went back after them hard.
Well, they did it with Milo. They did it with Alex Jones. They've done it with other. I mean, they've done it with people obviously who are not conservatives. They did it obviously. They went after Gavin. I think he's still available on YouTube. We'll talk with him about that. We didn't apologize because I didn't do anything wrong. We doubled down. We didn't just go back and by the way, conservatives don't just complain and say, "Look, they're trying to censor me." No. Come back funnier and harder. Do not apologize if you haven't done anything wrong. Andrew Breitbart, he said, "Apologize for what?" They're going to crucify you for something no matter what. So if you feel like you maybe said something that was on the line, you're not entirely sure, and you think maybe if you apologize it'll go away, remember, they went after Sarah Silverman, Lena Dunham, Aziz Ansari, Trudeau, Chris Evans. You haven't got a shot. None of you have a shot. They will go after you no matter what. And I want to make sure that everyone out there, because we've seen a lot of comedians who used to fancy themselves liberals who have now come to the other side of the fence just because of this cancel culture. Well, there are still some other comedians saying it's not a real thing, like Andy Kindler. He said it's not a real thing. Really? Okay. I bet you will be talking with him in about 6 months' time. When they go
he'll be on the list. It'll be a top 6.
Jump in the waters warm. We will always be here defending you and advocating against cancel culture because I don't want to see it happen to anybody. And then I'll see you on the other side of that cage with your policies, which I think are stupid, and those should be canceled. Gavin McInnes, right after this.
Ooh, yeah.
Whatever you want, just take it and leave.
Gonna get you.
Sir, I have a firearm, and if you don't leave, I will use it.
Oh, I'm coming for you.
I will shoot.
Here I come. Ow! What the hell?
What did you expect?
I am gonna sue you so hard.
Guilty. What? No, I don't understand it. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do.
Firearmslegal.com/LWC. If you have a gun and you don't have this, you're an idiot. Again, that's firearmslegal.com/LWC. Hashtag body pride, hashtag Gerald B.
So beautiful.
He's never going to hit a home run, Gerald B.
But he's never going to strike.
He's always good for a bunt.
Devil's advocate.
I didn't claim to be an expert. I didn't claim anything. And I also don't do political content. I consider myself a citizen of the world, of humanity, and we all have aligned interests if we're believing that we are all moving toward the same path to enlightenment. I think some of us are further along the path. What are we going to be talking about today on Ash Wednesday?
Yeah. Top 5 greatest television shows of all time.
I was going to say Dukes of Hazzard. That's always funny. How them boys going to get out of this one?
Oh, I don't watch drama, I read. You're not saying that vaping is harmless, but that it is certainly less harmful than cigarettes. And the goal of vaping is to get people off of cigarettes. That's the argument that I've heard you make. And then I've heard Chris Cuomo say that you're putting all of our children into a shallow grave. So I don't know who to believe, but I'm going to give you the floor.
I would say never believe a Cuomo. It's a pretty good rule to follow.
All right. Now, what is he saying? You like that dingle time?
You like
time?
my dingle down?
Dingle down?
I don't know. It sounds
doesn't make any
suggestive.
sense. It's a very different culture, the Australians.
Australians?
You know what else is a big difference in culture?
Who?
The Chinese.
That's true.
Our next guest, you can go to defendgavin.com to support him. He has his show at freespeech.tv, though he's technically an unemployed talk show host, in case you don't know who it is now. Gavin McInnes, how are you, sir?
Hello, Stephen. How are you?
I'm okay. My voice is a little bit hoarse, but you're looking well. Hey, let me ask you this. Have you been following the SNL Shane Gillis deal?
I am totally obsessed. I actually don't know Shane, but we travel in the same circles, and we've been reporting on it all week. Today, we pooped ourselves when we watched this old video he did a year ago, August of 2018, where he plays a fireman who saved his family, but the interviewer discovers that he likes MAGA, and he used a racial epithet once in a text to a friend.
Right.
And so they fire him. And it's exactly what happened in real life. And the craziest part is that they show his address on the screen, and it's Haverford, PA. Mm-hmm. Haverford, PA was the fire department that was shut down a couple weeks ago because the VP happened to be a Proud Boy. So that video is too spooky for words.
So basically what you're saying is that Shane Gillis is a Proud Boy.
Yes.
Effectively. If there was some kind of an initiation, as has been reported, I'm sure he would have been initiated. You know, he actually included, if I'm not mistaken, I think Lorne Michaels, the spokesperson for SNL, said that was included in his audition, the MAGA hat firefighter.
Really?
Yeah, he may have adapted it. Would be
because,
my guess.
You know, the pinned comment, and it's also a year old, on that video says, this is way funnier than SNL.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, that's not necessarily hard to do. What's the name of the guy who writes for Vulture and Advice? The guy who outed him, Shane.
I don't know.
What's it? S something? Do you know the name?
Shane.
He does. Norm Macdonald wasn't joking when he said spoken bird poetry. The guy who covers comedy. I can't remember his name. We'll bring it up here as an overlay. And he was the one who broke the story about the racial epithets. And you can go and watch him doing this alt comedy. This is a scene that developed since I've since been away from the stand-up scene. I can't imagine doing it where they perform in libraries and the guy goes up and performs spoken bird poetry. So like he goes, caw, caw, eagle, eagle. That was a mockingbird doing an impersonation of an eagle. And it's like, okay, it's kind of cute, but these alternative, I was about to say alt-right, alternative comedians, it's 20 minutes of a gag that could have been funny, but they just drag it on too long and they have nowhere else to go.
Alt comedy.
None of these critics could survive in the arena where they destroy lives. It's ironic that they sit there and go, cancel culture isn't real. He'll do fine. Meanwhile, if they had even a flick of what Shane Gillis is getting, they'd be out on their ass. I mean, they have Patreons, these people. And you look at their Patreon, like Vic Berger makes, I think, $300 a month by begging. So the only thing more pathetic than begging is not getting paid.
Yeah. Yes. It'd be like someone rattling a tin cup and you knocking it out of his hand because you heard that he made a racial epithet at some time. Which really, when you think about it, if he's homeless, the racial epithets should be the least of your concerns.
Yeah.
There's probably AIDS.
That's true.
Those who can't do
There's a lot of needles.
Can't teach critique. And these critics are all useless, bitter, jealous C words.
I don't know what. You're. Is that what you're saying? And by the way, I was quoting Shane Gillis, so don't try and. These things are what they are. Do not blame me. Speaking of which, and we're going to go to the Web Extended afterwards and talk about Brett Kavanaugh. Did you watch any of Lily Singh's new late show that's on NBC replacing Carson Daly?
Okay, let me explain Lily Singh.
Okay.
No.
What a lot of these TV execs don't understand is they see a successful YouTuber and they go, oh, this person has a huge audience that will easily transpose to television.
Right.
But what they don't understand is a lot of these guys have huge clicks from little kids. Like my 6-year-old, his favorite show is Guava Juice, his favorite YouTuber. And that guy has...
Isn't that a hard liquor? Your 6-year-old is drinking mezcal?
Not surprised.
No, that's the name of his favorite YouTuber.
Oh, okay.
And Guava Juice talks like this, and he goes, hey, we're going to get in a big bath full of Skittles. And that'll have 20 million views.
Yeah.
So
That's eerily accurate.
Singh talks like that. She goes, oh, my parents are corny and conservative. Oh, my gosh, they want me to get married.
No, I did. Punjabis, they do talk like that. I bet her mom does talk like that. And Margaret Cho's mom goes like that. Sorry, continue.
Parents are foreigners.
What?
And so she has a huge following of children and losers and nobodies. And then they try to transpose that same YouTube, Nickelodeon way of talking to TV. And it's just so rehearsed and embarrassing. I get goose pimples on this part of my body every time I watch her.
I get them, but they're not. The term is genital warts, but they're strikingly similar.
Oh my god!
The thing is, I was
on my penis.
I haven't been having sex with geese lately. How long does this last? What's the half-life on the goose pimple in your serum?
Is there a cure?
Is it just serum goose pimple, or is it like mono, where it's always dormant? But is it a virus or a disease? The genital goose pimples. So when I saw this, I thought it was very similar. I don't know if you remember when YouTube started. There was a girl named Lisa Nova. And by the way, this is important for people out there because what they've done with Gavin, what they've done with myself, what they've done with Norm, by the way, and Dennis Miller, and even some people who've just been on our show, they lob the accusation. Well, it's just not funny. And I heard this on The View. They said, well, I just don't think that was funny. Listen, he used the word. I want to be clear so we know what we're talking about. He used the C word because I see people writing C word and they think it's a different word. He used that word, but that wasn't the joke. He was referring to people in Chinatown. He had a bunch of other jokes. I don't necessarily think it was funny, but I acknowledge that it was a joke, and people try to separate it from the joke. They separate the offense from the joke. Anyway, to go back, there was this girl named Lisa Nova, who's one of the early sketch artists. They brought her on Mad TV. She did a couple of funny impressions. They brought her on Mad TV. I think she lasted a season. And it didn't work because she was talking to her camera in a bedroom. She didn't know what it was like to perform in front of a live studio audience. She didn't have that experience. Same thing with this Lily Singh. She's done videos on YouTube and kind of showed up and spoken for her fans, but she doesn't have any experience with a live audience. And so I watched this premiere and I said, you know what? That's probably a girl who would be middle of the pack at an open mic, who just, you would say, give her 5-6 years of seasoning, let her work it out. But she's not there yet. Only she's performing that same material that would be mediocre at an open mic, but someone has an applause sign for the audience. Yeah. And that's what makes it so uncomfortable.
She did a 7-minute diatribe on how terrified we are at the idea of a brown woman talk show host. Meanwhile, she's a Canadian bisexual Sikh. So it's not like we talk about the threat of the Canadian bisexual Sikh every second day. But for 7 minutes, she goes, I know you're freaking out. You're like, hashtag not my Carson Daly. And you go, no, bitch, I don't care.
By the way, is anyone that possessive of Carson Daly? Like, you're not going to take my Carson from me. I feel like it was either him or the Ron Popeil Pocket Fisherman rerun. Yeah.
it kept looping into itself until I was watching her going, wait, are you making fun of your own political belief system? Because you're not parroting mine.
Yeah.
So I think you're making fun of the concept of someone being terrified. The only people that are terrified are the executives at NBC when they see these ratings. It's going to be a brutal takedown.
Yeah, I think it's going to probably be pretty rough. But I think it's important to note that a lot of these, they don't know what they're doing, right? They're saying, okay, we want to try and bring in non-linear content, and they want to bring in people from YouTube, but they don't understand necessarily how to make it work. And it is amazing. Right now there's this discussion. Who is it? Someone from Seth Meyers. A black girl is going to have another late night show.
Oh, man. How many late nights do you need?
I don't know, but they go, the late night landscape has to change. And they show all of the hosts. And I'm looking, I'm going, okay, we got Seth Meyers, we got Trevor Noah, we got Samantha Bee, we got Stephen Colbert. And their argument is, look at how homogenous this is. I'm going, well, no, hold on a second. Yeah. You have men and women, underqualified women, a lot of them, underqualified South Africans, but you do have a good color spectrum here. You don't have a single person who's even moderate, let alone center-right. And they have no clue.
There is zero diversity of opinion. And she showed herself with all the talk show hosts, and then she threw in Hassan Minhaj and her. Meanwhile, by the way, Muslims killed 1 million Sikhs, so I don't know why she's all buddy-buddy with the one Muslim guy on TV. But all of those people, Hassan, Lily, all of the talk shows have exactly the same, as you just said, radical leftist politics. Yeah. There is zero diversity of opinion. I mean, in this modern landscape of talk shows, if you were Jay Leno, and all Jay Leno did was not hate Republicans, if you were Jay Leno, you'd be David Duke.
Yeah, well, I think that was his nickname. That was his fighting name. It was J. David Duke Leno. He switched it from the chiropractor. J. the chiropractor Leno. No, something else, though, that's interesting to me is, I don't know if you know this, they pre-taped with Lily Singh. So this is important because it coincides while this Shane Gillis is getting canceled for a joke, right, for being what they consider racist, let's call it edgy. He's getting removed from SNL. While at the same time they're pushing Lily Singh, they pre-taped, they said like 30 or 40 of her episodes. And they said, we don't want this to be political. It's going to be more personal. Well, hold on. A late night show is topical. That's a big reason that it differs from stand-up. You're covering news of the day. And then she took shots at Trump. She took shots at, I mean, you just look at, you're going, hold on a second. They don't consider this political. That's what's crazy to me. They go, it's not going to be political. The entire first half of the show was, you're afraid of a woman of color, and I'm coming for late night, white men, hashtag me too. Going, they don't see this as political.
You know, Lily Singh is everything wrong with affirmative action. And firing Brett Gillis is this, I mean, what's his name again?
Shane Gillis, yeah.
Gillis. That is everything wrong with affirmative action, too. You're getting rid of a funny dude based on BS. And by the way, he never said these darn chicks are taking our jobs. They were making fun of a type of person, and they said, Chinatown just springs up. And then people are like, what's all these buildings here? Yeah, they're like, what are all these chicks here? He said, people are like. So he was doing a guy who was freaked out by Chinatown. He wasn't using the word on a personal level, but we get rid of him. We get rid of, you know, I think Lorne Michaels was going, let's get some actual quality comedy back, like Robert Downey, who defined SNL from the 80s to the 90s. They thought, let's get a new Robert Downey. This guy seems kind of centrist. Maybe he can do some good jokes. They go, no. And the reason they attacked him, we all know, is because he's a white male. That's what this is about. Lily Singh can do no wrong because she's beige, and Shane Gillis can do no right because he's white.
Okay, I have to make sure that I distance myself from this alleged Proud Boy. We prefer the term taupe.
You would. You act like a time.
Taupe is the term. Sand, like my 2004 Taurus. Yeah, cream.
Yeah.
Cream. Also loved their music, the Black Room with White Curtains in the 1960s. I don't know of any other songs from Cream. Can you name me any other songs from Cream, Gavin, that were hits?
Cream?
Yeah.
Didn't they do Sunshine of My Life?
Was it? I don't think any of us know. We don't have the ability to fact check this right now.
I don't know.
Someone get Jamie from Joe Rogan.
Sunshine.
Quick, he'll know.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the Nathan Phillips version. He just shows up in the white room with black curtains. All right, we're going to go to a web extended here for people who missed it and talk a little bit about the Kavanaugh controversy. Because these are the only two topics of the week. It's freespeech.tv. Before we go to web here, Gavin, where's the best place for people to find and support you?
You can only find me on freespeech.tv, although I'm on a bunch of ghetto social media like Telegram and Parler. But you can find those links at freespeech.tv under links.
Oh, right. So I didn't know. I hang out at a parlor, and it's the last place that still calls it a parlor.
That's weird.
Also known
c'est
as
français comme parler, là.
OK, on va parler en privé, esticalis. Gavin McInnes va aller au commercial break web extended, tabarnak.
This is for all you lovers out there.
Hey, Lotto with Crowder Beer! It's Crazy Pete from Crazy Pete's Abortion Dawn and Crazy Pete's Embryonic Stem Cell Emporium. And have I got a deal for you? How would you like to own a little piece of Lotto with Crowder history? Well, today, you can by going to LottoWithCrowder.com/super secret news van. That's right. This here is the actual van that the Lotto with Crowder used to infiltrate Antifa, go down and change my mind, and dress up as a tranny and fool whipsy-dotsy Wendy Davis. Hands off my pussy hat, but this baby rides like a pussycat. It still starts. And look at those dash lights. It's like Christmas. Woo-wee. Look at all this space. That's right. Not only did the Lotto with Crowder crew broadcast with the entire team from this here van, but it has the maximum legally allowable height limit with an added-on semi-custom roof. Look at this. Christopher Lewis seats, all this space, arm to arm, and custom red, white, and blue shag carpeting from floor to ceiling. We have all the colors of the rainbow. But no contact Crazy Pete at LottoWithCrowder.com/super secret news van today. Crazy Pete at LottoWithCrowder.com/super secret news van. Killing babies, selling automobiles, and slashing prices.
So what would you do, Congressman, day one at the White House?
Satoshi Nakamoto. Booker.
Vamos a tratar cada persona con el respeto.
Aquí, su Kishino. Su cada noche. Kuma.
Es inaceptable. Este presidente ha atacado, ha demonizado los inmigrantes. Es inaceptable. Voy a cambiar esto.
That was a Justin Trudeau. Singing Deo underwater, but you couldn't tell because the blackface had washed off.
Oh, darn makeup.
It wasn't so much just water as it was a very large Epsom salt bath. So it pulls off all the paint.
Yeah.
Little known trick for those of you who don't know. You want to get the cleanest you'll ever be in your life, take an Epsom salt bath, okay? Load it up with Epsom salts and then just rinse off in the shower. You will see a ring around the tub. Yeah.
That sounds disgusting.
Just draws everything out like one of those pore strips from your butt.
You do blackface a lot?
Thank you so much to Gavin McInnes. A web extended interview, of course, available exclusively for those who are Mug Club members at The Blaze. And thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting us lately. We really do appreciate it. We know some of you are waiting on your mugs because we've been back ordered. We've had so many orders come in. And I want to make sure I clarify earlier when we were talking about how this is the only show that survived that sort of onslaught of cancel culture. That's not to brag. That's really out of gratitude to all of you guys. The only reason we're able to do this is because of you and because of people who join up at Mug Club. If there's no Mug Club, if you guys don't join, and many of you have and support us, there's enough of you out there to support what we're doing now. We're done. Like, do you know how much we're making on YouTube? Zero. Yeah, zero. Not any. Zero. We also can't sell some of our merch.
Yeah.
Although you can go to loudwithcrowder.shop.com and click the mystery box. Mystery box.
Who knows what it is?
Who knows what it is? It's not a date. I don't know what are figs and dates stone fruits or stone fruits? I'm still not quite clear what a stone fruit is. I believe that it has a pit.
They're like cousin fruits.
Yeah, they're like cousin fruits. I wouldn't know a fig from a date. All right. So a couple of things I know we often talk about. Some more macro issues here in the close. This is one thing that I noticed in talking with younger relative, I will say. I don't want to, if I say niece, or if I say nephew, if I say cousin, then they're going to be like, it's me, and they're going to get mad. I have to talk with their parents. So I hear this a lot, particularly in children's shows, and you hear it on radio. We're constantly told, for as long as I can remember, certainly our entire upbringing, that the most important thing you can do is believe in yourself. Right? That's the mantra that we hear. And it's usually married with, you can accomplish anything if you just believe in yourself. It's the most important thing is that you believe in yourself, and then you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. All right, I'm here to tell you that neither of those statements are true. That's not a bad thing, because you know what? It's okay. It's okay to be unsure of yourself. It's okay not to know. Now, it's not okay to let that overtake you, to paralyze you, to prevent you from doing the work that has to be done anyway, but it is okay to be unsure of your abilities. Here's something else. You can still accomplish, by the way, great things without entirely believing in yourself. Sometimes your greatest accomplishments come in an environment, in an incubator of self-doubt. Now, notice I didn't say self-defeat, so I don't want to say people are telling you to believe in yourself and you shouldn't believe in yourself at all. That's not what I'm saying. Doubt is a very different animal from defeat. Doubt is not a guarantee of failure. It's just a healthy skepticism of this notion that we're taught of a guaranteed victory. Because you know what doubting yourself does? Do you know what it does? Well, if you're a productive person, a person who utilizes critical thinking, you're going to set out to determine whether that doubt is valid. See, absolute confidence, the believe in yourself, if you buy that wholesale, it breeds complacency. Healthy self-doubt breeds inquiry. It breeds vigilance. Also, something else, self-doubt usually only enters into the equation when it's a decision of consequence, when it's an action worth deliberating. You don't tend to struggle with self-doubt when picking avocados out at the market. Like, was that one ripe enough? I think I better go back. Now, some of you may, okay, because you're OCD. So this segment is not for you. You should go touch every northern-facing corner of your house right now while avoiding all the tile cracks, otherwise your family will die. But for the rest of us, that trepidation, that self-doubt, it only comes into play when we're nearing the perimeter of something that matters. Especially if it's your purpose. And we've talked about this, talked about living in your purpose, talking about fulfilling your purpose, because everyone has something that they're great at. And so the lie that we tell young kids, and I hear it so often, it's so pervasive that you don't even think about it. Some of us don't even think to go, well, hold on a second, is that true? Just like, you're perfect the way you are. Well, we know that's a lie. No one's perfect. And it's bad to tell people that they're perfect. You can accomplish anything if you believe in yourself. The most important thing is that you believe in yourself. The lie, and that's a lie that we tell young kids, it teaches them to avoid one of life's most fulfilling endeavors, which is conquering self-doubt to achieve one's purpose or goal. And I wish I could say, on a personal level, I wish I could say that I always believed in myself. Life would be a lot easier. It's not true. Constantly had self-doubts. I lack self-belief. I constantly have thought of myself as underqualified, undeserving, overwhelmed. I still do, by the way. I struggle with it every single day, but it doesn't stop me from doing what it is that I know needs to be done. There's no shame. We talk about this idea of shame in culture, but the problem is we want to praise the wrong things and remove shame from things that maybe should be shamed. There should be no shame in self-doubt. There's no virtue in absolute unfettered self-confidence. There's no shame in self-doubt whatsoever, just as there is no sin in fear. I'm going to go a little bit theological on you here. We've often heard, I had a pastor, I've talked about this, who once taught that fear is the opposite of love. That it's not hate, it's fear. To be fair, it might have been Rob Bell. I have no idea. Could be a heretic. But we're taught this a lot, that you shouldn't fear. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So even if you don't believe, I'm a Christian, I make no bones about it, but let's just say you think it's an Aesop fable. Okay, Jesus was sinless, otherwise there's no point to the story. That's the whole idea behind the Christ. Have you ever read about Jesus in the garden before the crucifixion? He asked God if there was any other way for this to occur, to please let this cup pass from him. That was fear. But there wasn't another way. And so he took that hard path just the same. See, self-doubt, fear, how you feel, it doesn't determine your actions. And your actions determine who you are. Your actions are what define you. I would even go as far as to say that people with the most absolute self-confidence tend to be buffoons. And the greatest folks to have done anything in their chosen endeavor, they almost all have a healthy level of self-doubt. Do me a favor, actually. Let's do this little thought exercise here. I want you to think of a historical figure who you really respect, you admire, even a great athlete. I just want you to picture someone in your mind, someone who's the greatest to have ever done X, okay? Take a second. Pause if you have to. Do you have it? Okay. Now I want you to go research that person. Find some interviews or find some candid writing about how they felt before some of their greatest accomplishments. Winston Churchill, could be Abe Lincoln, Marcus Aurelius, could be George St. Pierre, could be Richard Pryor. Every single one of them, without exception, struggled with self-doubt. Every single one of the greatest to have ever done X or Y or Z was nervous and struggled with self-doubt. They didn't walk on stage, whether it be the global stage, the comedy stage, or the arena, like some Pink song who thinks that they were perfect the way they are and that they had absolute self-confidence. Now, on the flip side, think of the buffoons. Think of the people you don't necessarily have a ton of respect for. Like the cast of Jersey Shore, C-level actors, the mediocre plus-size Instagram models, the guy you knew from high school who's still living in his senior year. Think of anyone who you wouldn't want to emulate. They tend, not all of them, they tend to be the people who have ultimate self-confidence and this unwavering self-belief. Doubt never even enters into the equation. Why is that? Who would you rather be? So the final exercise I want you to do this week, it's just about being mindful. I want you to think about what it is that gives you self-doubt. What is it that you would like to accomplish, but maybe you're not sure if you can? Or maybe if you can't think of it, I want you to be hyper-vigilant just throughout the entire week. Be as aware as you can, hyper-vigilant this entire week, so that any situation that arises, as you approach it, and if you get that, when you get that little feeling, that voice in your head telling you, I don't know, I don't think you can do it, is that voice popping up because you're coming close to fulfilling your purpose? I want you to ask yourself, is that voice coming up because this is important, this is of consequence, this involves your life's potential? Have you been avoiding it because it might sting? Have you been cutting that feeling, that voice, a wide swath, avoiding? I want you to be honest with yourself. You don't have to believe in yourself, full stop. You don't. I think it's foolish to. Self-doubt is normal. It's healthy. You just don't have to let it batter you into self-defeat. And all of this starts with living in truth. Not your truth, the truth. I'll see you next week.